This is Reah, and this is Just the Who of Us, where we talk about a range of topics, including life events, current events, spirituality, entertainment, family relationships, as well as answering listener questions and more.
We got started nation. I meet my son to the board, touch a gun, to the board, touch a gun. We move on the cover and we move as one.
I feel like the last time we recorded, it started off by you singing.
Probably did. Everybody loves my voice. I know.
It's the reason they keep coming back.
I
It's
know.
not me, it's you.
Oh, I know. I mean, look at this face. I mean, look
Well,
at yours. No, I'm just kidding.
wow. I'm the face they started coming to. So
And
coming
then
back to,
and then they
coming to,
and then they
maybe
ran
also.
because they realized it was your face, and then they come back when I was here.
Oh, oh, you're giving me chest pains. Just kidding. Well, welcome back.
You're the chest pain to my existence.
Thank you.
You're the pain in my chest. There we go. No,
I was gonna say you're the chest to my pain, but that makes more sense. You're the pain to my chest. Yeah, you're the pain to my
that's
chest.
it. It just took me a couple like run through what I was trying to say to figure it out.
Oh my goodness. Well, speaking of pain in my chest, so as you know, I recently have had some changes, unexpected changes in my routine, uh, in my business, and something happened that kind of caught me off guard. Some very weird timing for something. I wanted to talk about like unexpected life events and ADHD because yeah, I felt like this would be a good topic and it, naturally just came to me. I didn't even plan for it. But I felt like it'd be a good topic because I know that a lot of people who listen to us probably when they listen to us talk, it's usually about things related to mental health and
Yeah.
ADHD is one of those. So uh s- so this thing occurred and it was very weird timing, very like I just got a like a glowing letter of reference from this person, literally like a couple days before this.
Mm-hmm.
So very out of left field. Um, you know, so naturally the day of, which was yesterday, I felt myself kind of like spiraling a little bit. Like I broke down. I was so devastated, like bawling. I've in the past 24 hours, I've gone back and forth between being sad and saying, all right, fuck it, accepting it, and like all of these emotions in 24 hours. Like it is what it is. I accept it. I gotta move the fuck on. To also like I'm fucking crushed. And I know part of that is having ADHD. I
Mm-hmm.
want to fix everything as soon as it's broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like my brain has a hard time comprehending time and that, hey, it felt kind of traumatic to me. The things have to have time to set in. You have to have time for emotions to happen in the process and everything like that. It feels kind of traumatic because the relationship that I thought I had with this person was clearly not what it was, but that's on me for not recognizing the signs that were there clearly in my face and wanting to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I don't know, sometimes thinking people care about me a little more than they do, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I expect people to have emotions and sometimes they don't.
Right.
So, but it's like this roller coaster, this whirlwind of all these emotions in a 24-hour period and trying to accept the fact that I can't instantly correct everything right now. Like everything that's affected by this, I just want it fixed. I don't want to feel negative things about it. I don't want it to impact my life. I don't want to acknowledge the fact that this drastically changed some things for me.
Mhm.
My routine,
So this,
everything.
this is what I'm gonna say. I'm actually gonna put some DBT in here a little bit. Sounds a little bit like a little bit of willfulness of accepting what has come. And
Yeah,
there's a difference in DBT, there's a difference between willfulness and willingness. Willfulness means like, hey, I've dug my heels in and like I don't accept what's happening, and therefore I must try to fix what's happening. And
yeah,
willingness is be like, okay, this has happened, and I'm willing to see what comes out of it, and have kind of like it's kind of like when you're trying to get your kid in a car and he dug his heels into and it's like I'm not going. Whereas if you
yeah,
can come with the flow, that's willingness. You know,
yeah,
that's also willing to be like, hey, okay, now let's see where this car ride goes. I'm willing to do it. I don't want to go, but I'm still willing to go. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so one thing that what it sounds like you're trying to do is you want to radically accept. Radical acceptance means that hey, this situation I have no control over is here,
Yeah,
and I am okay. I am okay with it.
yeah,
I mean, I may still not like it, but
yeah,
I'm okay with it being here. It's like when you sit, you know, when you sit on a cliff, you know, like hey, I'm uncomfortable with this being this high, but I accept that it's there. You know, like it's there. I'm not if I as long as I don't do anything stupid, I'm not gonna die from this. You know what I mean? But I accept that it's there. I respect that it's there, and it's okay that it's there. But I
yeah,
have no control that it's there or not. But I have control of my position on it. You know, so like I mean, if I stepped off the cliff now, you think? I mean, that's like it was actually kind of funny. My psychiatrist and I talked a little bit about something this morning and about like how I am in my psyche and my way I respond to things. And there's this quote I kind of made up real quick. Like you can't hate the tree for being ugly because a tornado just came through it.
hmm,
You know? Like you're not gonna be like, hey, why the fuck is this tree so messed up? Oh, well, maybe it's because a tornado just came in. But you can't blame the tree for that.
yeah,
That's the same thing goes with the person. You can't blame a person if a tornado sweeps you up off your feet and then you hit smack down on the ground and now you have a broken limb, broken this, trauma, whatever. You can't blame the person for that.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, so that basically I was trying to use the tree in tornado metaphor because the tree can't
yeah.
do anything about it. The tree can't move. The tree can't do this. The tree can't do that. It just accepts its fate and then hope that it comes out on the other side.
My nickname in high school, one of my nicknames was also a tree. So,
Look at that. God, what a wonderful God you are.
you know, as devastated as I am, because I feel like yet again the rug has been pulled from under me and I'm
Mm-hmm.
forced to go to a different starting point. And this is feels like such a cycle in my life
Mm-hmm.
and not necessarily just career wise, not really career wise, more so in other aspects.
I
But think,
think there's another DBT skill that's fantastic. And it's called check the facts.
hmm,
And basically what that skill does is like you just use the word always. And always is not exactly the best terminology to use
that's
because
true.
it's saying that every single
Every time.
time.
Yeah,
It's like me saying everybody always leaves me. While that may feel true,
yeah,
is that based on actual evidence and facts?
that's true.
You know,
Well, so
and
often not.
I'm not trying to invalidate or anything.
Yeah,
Your feelings are true and valid, but is is it every single time? You know, and
yeah,
sometimes it helps gain that perspective of like, okay, hold on. It's happened a couple times, yes. But this all or nothing thinking, how does this serve me? And does it?
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's something that my husband keeps telling me.
Yeah, BPD? No, sorry.
No, but I did score very high on the test for bipolar. So, yay, there's that.
Hey, so have I. And the BPD and the ADHD. Woo! Yay!
Yeah.
I got the double B's and the A. I got the ABB.
I
Or
don't think you've ever had double B's, but
I wish. I fucking wish. I need double B's. And I also got the triple D's. You know what those are? Dark humor,
oh,
depression, and what was the other one? Dark humor, depression. No. Actually, this is actually with jokes. Dark humor, dirty humor, and dad humor. You know, like dad jokes. So I have the triple D's in my humor column. And then I
yeah, but
have
that's a that's an attribute though, to be
um
versatile in your
ah,
humor.
um but yeah, so I think that the way you view things is so important. Now I suck at this, so I am definitely a fucking hypocrite. I know I am. But at the end of the day, how you view a situation and how long you're willing to stay in that situation is what's gonna determine your next steps. And so it's
Yeah,
just like, are you gonna try to fix something that may not even be fixable? Or you maybe already know that's not fixable.
yeah,
And you're just not willing to see willing. Are you willing to accept it and then make the next right move? And the next right move could be a start of something even better. Or you
yeah,
could stay in this situation for a little bit longer. It's okay, you know. It's good to have a period where you're just like, okay, I really hate everything right now, and I need this time to do that, and that's okay.
yeah.
And that's okay. That's completely okay, as long as you don't stay there too long. That's
Yeah, absolutely.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like you can do what you did in that bathroom, cry, scream. You can do all that. You can do that. Get it out. But once you're done, you're done.
okay.
Like, I mean, it still gets it out. You
Yeah,
still let it flow.
yeah,
It's not invalidating yourself in any way. You're just like, okay, let me get this out. And then I'm making the choice to not let it affect me again.
yeah,
And I mean, will it
yeah,
still affect you again in the future? It might. You know what I mean? But
yeah. But it also taught me that I have to stop not standing up for myself. I
that's
have to,
another thing. What did
yeah,
you learn from the situation to avoid the
yeah.
situation in the future?
I have, I also have to stop being friendly with clients because
Yeah,
business
put the
is
middle
professional.
finger up right after you do the job. Be like, bye, bitches. Okay, sorry, continue.
But I felt myself doing that more in a sense of I had a guy. It was like a trial based. First of all, I ignored a bunch of red flags because I went
Mhm.
in and he immediately told me, "You're gonna fall on the floor when you find out how much I pay my employees," and
Mhm.
not in a good way. He had been paying this one woman $20 an hour for 40 years, not one increase. 40 years. Now, $20 an hour 20 years ago was fantastic, probably way above pay grade, but nothing as the years have gone by.
No.
40 years. And he thought he was going to pay. No, honey, you're not paying me $20 an hour. We negotiated 50,
Mhm.
which my starting was 150, which really was an overshoot, but the house was massive
Mhm.
and it was just me.
Right.
Um, and then he was like, well, if you bring someone else with you, I'm not paying any extra.
Mhm.
I was like, all right, well, I will have someone with me. So I'm going to overshoot
Yeah.
because first of all, you're not paying me $20 an hour.
Mhm.
My education and my life experience is way more valuable than $20 an hour.
Right.
offered 25 to someone a year or so ago, and he was like, that's it.
Mhm.
Like, so I gotta learn where to balance people who know my worth and keep those people around and
Mhm.
not keep around people who don't appreciate my worth.
Right.
Also, I'm gonna put in $20 an hour worth of effort, which is not what you're gonna be satisfied with. Because you want me to do that 50 to $75 an hour worth of work. What I typically charge if I charge per hour, depending on certain factors, is gonna be typically around 60 to $75.
Right.
Now, if you want to pay me $20 an hour,
Hmm.
I'm going to do $20 an hour worth of work.
Hmm.
That's significantly less than if you pay me what I'm worth.
Right.
Um, but I'm not always like that with everybody. There's times where I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I was busting my ass.
Hmm.
I worked a lot of times 6, 7 days a week, sometimes 12-hour days,
Hmm.
physical labor, including driving too, which would typically be an hour to an hour and a half each way.
Hmm.
So like I'm putting in work,
Right.
but I was making the money that I needed to get by. To
Right.
get by. Mind you, I'm not even living lavishly. I'm just paying things that need to be paid.
Right.
Um, and I'm in I had two feelings immediately. I was like, thank God. One, now I can do the shit I actually want to do.
Hmm.
And two, I'm fucked.
Right.
I had because it was such a drastic financial decrease like that with no preparation. I mean, I had the whole rest of my week planned out. I was working the next 5 days and it was
Right.
only Monday,
Yeah.
and I'd be gone the whole time my kids were in school.
Right. It
So
was
it
like how a little bit like how with this new job,
yeah,
like I was thinking, oh, they're gonna pay me
right.
like
They're
10
not gonna pay me
or
what I'm worth.
no, no, it's not even that. It's just that I just thought, maybe what I'm used to with
Right.
like because technically I am so fresh out of school and all this type of shit, But then when I found out that it was $10 more, I was like, holy, like, like this guy sees
Yeah.
my worth more than I do.
Right. Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he saw that, hey, her knowledge can be so beneficial to this company. He saw my worth more than I saw my worth.
Right.
And that's the
Right.
type of people you need to work for. You know what I mean? How can I even turn this down? Like I would be stupid to turn this,
Right.
especially that plus another thing to go with.
Yeah.
No, like he sees something in me that I didn't know my worth was.
Yeah.
And so that sets a bar for me if I even do have a future different job. Most likely I'll probably stay with this company as long as I can. But
Yeah. But
like
now you know what that bar is, and you know it's much higher than you
exact
anticipated it to be.
exactly because
Yeah.
I would have been okay with 15. I would have been okay with 16. And if I hopefully he doesn't listen to this and be like, oh shit, I should have done 16. No, I'm kidding. I doubt that. But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he saw just it's just important, because when you know it, then you stick with it, then
Yeah.
you will know that you're worth that if you think you're worth that. So,
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, it's mindset. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I recognize so Sunday, so I go to Promise City here in Salisbury. They meet in the high school.
mhm,
And so, I go Sunday and the sermon, he says in the sermon, he's like, your fear is holding you back from your success, basically.
mhm,
And, not every sermon applies to me. Like, I'm not one of those people who every time I go in there, like, oh, they're talking to me. Well, their goal is to talk to people who feel like they're talking to them, right?
right,
So,
right, right,
not everything is specifically meant for me. Sometimes it's for other people, and that's perfectly fine. I still enjoy it.
right.
But, he's talking about let like letting go of fear.
Mhm,
And I definitely have this kind of fear of failure. I have this fear of this happening, you know, getting I mean, like I had a massive amount of this person's inventory in my garage, and uh, quite possibly their entire inventory in my garage. Like
Hmm.
becoming so woven in with something that it's your primary focus.
Hmm.
And did become my focus because this is where I was making most of my money. I honestly hesitated to try to grow elsewhere
Hmm.
because this had all my focus. Had this fear of becoming so in, so in not entangled, but like so close with something and then it just disappearing or blowing up.
Is it one thing that I think it's just a question and it could be a no, but I also think people, when people say what are you afraid of and you say afraid of failing or afraid of heights or this or that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't think to ask themselves, are you afraid of the success?
Okay, so it's funny that you say that because that used to be my phrase. I have a fear of success. And everybody would tell me, I mean, multiple people, no, you mean fear of failure. And I'm like, no, I have a fear of success. I have a fear of these components. I have a fear of becoming successful and not being able to handle it mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. Like, I have a fear of being successful at something and it not like it Oh, I guess almost to the point I have a fear of being successful because of a fear of failure, if that makes sense. But that used to be the phrase that I would use. I have a fear of success. And everybody's like, no, you mean you have a fear of failure. I'm like, no, I have a fear of success.
It's like a
Like,
therapist would ask a client, are you afraid of healing? Are you afraid to step out from what you know?
yeah, are you afraid of getting better and feeling different than what you're used to? Which could
Exactly.
be a
It's
thing too.
if you put in science behind it, the nervous system the nervous system is used to what it's used to. So
Right,
even if it's used to
right.
being going 200 miles per hour every fucking second, if it starts to feel that calmness, which is good and good for you,
It's still different.
system
It still throws you off.
it still throws you off, and then
Yeah.
your body reacts to that, be like, okay, hold on, I need to work twice as hard now because this is not the normal thing.
Yes.
And so just apply that with things in life, if you're used now, this is not towards you, just
Yeah.
towards people. If you're used to being poor and have no money, and usually that's a drive to make more money, but
Hmm.
makes a drive to make enough money to be able to survive. But
Yeah.
usually that doesn't create enough hunger to become successful. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, like, it's like I'm afraid of what I don't know. I'm used to living from paycheck to paycheck. I'm used to doing this and that, and it works. So what if I get successful and this no longer works?
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Like, even though it doesn't make sense, it does make sense in a sense
it does.
because
Yeah.
it's like you're afraid that, hey, I know this 100% works. If I go beyond this, do I know 100% is going to work? Even though most likely, yeah, but your body's still used to what 100% knows. And what 100% knows is what's in that moment. Yeah.
So yeah, it makes complete sense. And I think a lot of times it's coupled with other things. Like uh, like it's it's stressful to change your way of life. And even if it's for the better.
Mhm.
I thought between Sunday's sermon and the things that have happened since then.
Mhm.
So in the past 3 days, maybe like I've been carrying around my Bible because for a while now I've said, okay, I'm going to start. I have a study Bible. My aunt created it. She's the author of it. She did all this. She sent me one, me and my husband one, and we've had them. And I've been really wanting to work in the study Bible,
Yeah.
but I haven't for whatever reason.
Mhm.
And uh, I also would love to get back into the gym. Um, I started back. I went a couple days. I was only there for 15 minutes because that's literally all I could squeeze in between work and kids. But I say, you know what, 15 minutes is better than nothing, and this is how I start my routine back.
Mhm.
Um, there I really want to be more consistent with podcasting. Um, I want to guest on other podcasts. I want to finish working on writing and things like that. There's a lot of things that I've been wanting to do. I pay for this office and I'm very rarely in it.
Mhm.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that I want to be doing, but I've been out working
Right.
and I haven't been able to do a lot of it. And
Mhm.
some of it is I can make money off of it if I really focus on it. But it's kind of, it's kind of a slow build up
Mhm.
kind of thing. Some of it as I want to do it because it makes me happy.
So my question would be, why do you still have an office if you barely use it?
Well, because I'm in a contract.
Or I
And
guess.
at the time I could afford it,
All right. All
you
right.
know. So it's okay, I'm in a contract until July. Um, but I got the office because I, I I wanted a professional space, first of all. I've had people come in for meetings. I've had somebody come in and do a live podcast, things like that. And there's there's things that I can do here that I can't do at home or I won't do at home. I'm
Mhm.
not going to say can't. I've done them at home. I've recorded podcast episodes at home. The quality wasn't that great because although I have like uh like the Wi-Fi, the points, different access points in my house, like built into my house. For some reason, in certain areas, still like
I
the
mean,
quality of recording wasn't great.
have you do you guys have an emergency fund?
What do you mean?
Well, I
Like
mean,
a like a
like
like a
I mean,
land?
you're in a
Oh,
situation
I thought
right
you
now.
said emergency phone, and I was like, what?
No.
So I did at one point. I also opened a payroll account. I have different things. I have things set different places, but
Sorry. I'm sorry.
uh
ADHD moment. Sorry.
yeah, I do. I have different things set aside.
Mm-hmm.
Um in reality, I'll be okay. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's
See,
just
that's why the
it's
reason
just
why I
having to
brought it
adjust that
up,
way.
it's just like one thing about checking the facts is like, hey, I'm not exactly in hell right now.
Right.
I'm not in financial dread of deadness. You
No,
know,
it's just my brain forecasting.
it's
Like if
your
I don't see the
brain's
numbers
doing
now,
shit.
yeah.
Brain is doing shit. There's a quote that my DBT therapist says a lot, and she says brains just be doing shit. And that's trademarked by her, so just saying. But brains just be doing shit. And your brain is that's what it was doing. It was just doing shit. And
Yeah.
while your brain runs, it runs. Sometimes you need to tell it to shut the fuck up. And then tell yourself to shut the fuck up. No, I'm kidding. But
You would
no,
like that, wouldn't you?
huh?
You would like that, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, but I mean, I rather clip some of your other lips, but okay.
I'm not taking that out, by the way.
Fuck.
That
Oh,
was here to stay.
yeah. Okay, she asked for it, guys. Off,
It
off, off recording.
it's consensual.
It is very consensual, everybody. She likes it. So, anywho, all I'm just saying is sometimes when our brain is doesn't have much going on, it makes shit up. It makes drama up. Come like
Yeah.
anybody who tries to say that they don't create drama is just lying to themselves. Our
Yeah.
brain needs something to focus on, and sometimes that's drama. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like people love to watch those drama TV shows for a reason, right? Like I mean, come on, because when our brain is idle and when things are going good, like things are going good right now for me, my brain starts doing shit because it's like, okay, now I must create something, a scenario, something to make it to match what I'm feeling. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? While what I'm thinking about may be valid and increasing my feeling, and emotions love to feed themselves. That's a great way to phrase it. Emotions love to feed itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, like once you feel happy, you just want to feel happy the entire time. Once you feel sad, what do? You put on sad music or you do something. And while there is actually a study that that's actually okay, as long as you don't stay there too long, and it actually does help, but sometimes you do it just to feed the sadness or feed the depression or whatever, it's like when you and your friends are talking and you guys are laughing about something, you keep adding to the joke. You're
Yeah.
feeding that. You're feeding that feeling. You're feeding that laughter. So,
I've never been, well, I don't know that I can say never, but I'm not like that with music though. I don't want to hear sad stuff if I'm already sad. Does that make sense? Like,
oh no,
I
that's
know
completely
like
makes sense.
my teenagers sometimes, oh, I just want to hear sad music. But I'm like, why? I don't want to feel sadder if I'm sad, you know? I mean,
No,
not that I don't,
it's a way of feeling validation for how you're feeling, and sometimes it's a way to
yeah,
communicate how you're feeling when you don't have the words to communicate it.
yeah,
And that's a huge thing for me. There'll be times when I may be depressed. And I listen to this depression song and I'm like, this is how I feel. And that makes me feel better knowing that someone else understands how I feel. Now, if I played it on repeat for hours or I played a whole playlist of sad songs and just continue the pity party, then yeah, I understand that. But sometimes it's like there's like this therapy thing you can do. Take 10 minutes every day to cry. And after you don't crying, you're done. Like,
yeah, I've heard that, yeah,
or like, you spend 10 minutes being angry about the situation. After that, don't be angry about it anymore.
right,
Like that way you still let it out and you don't feed it that long.
yeah,
So if you do the same thing with music. If you listen to depressing music and you do it for a short time or whatever, or if it does help you and it does feed and get it out, and then you can feel lethargic from it and feel good, then there is no harm to it. But like I said, it's a difference if you're just doing it to have a pity party. There is a difference.
yeah,
Letting it out and letting it flow is completely different than I'm trying to keep this feeling as long as I can.
yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah,
I guess that's how I look at it, like the saying, the fun, it was fun, but now I'm done.
yeah,
Like you enjoyed this time, but you got it out, so you no longer wanna do that and just go back home and relax or whatever. So
yeah,
that's kind of how I view it, I guess. So it depends on their intention behind it and how long they stay there. That's the difference.
makes sense.
So sometimes you do need an hour to let it out, and that's okay too. Just don't get stuck and just make sure you're not feeding it. There's a difference. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's like a kid doing a tantrum. You know those very well. I know those very well. Like I was the kid and I threw a tantrum, but after I got it out, I was like, "Hey, you want to go do something?" Like like
yeah,
it wasn't feeding it to let it out. It was letting it out to release it. So yeah.
right. Makes sense. Yeah.
Actually, actually, I found out that I think I was misdiagnosed. So I don't think I have DID. I think I have just I think I have a heavy dissociation. Like heavily dissociated to the point where I just don't remember conversations. And like it's like I'm just not there. Like I mean, it's like it's not full on different personality.
Yeah.
It's just like it's still me. I'm just not there, sort of. But Like,
Wouldn't that be disassociation though?
yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm heavily dissociating.
Yeah.
And that we don't think it's DID,
Oh, gotcha.
identity disorder. That's a different, there's a difference.
Yeah.
So dissociation identity disorder is when you have created a whole personality, whole thing. And that's what I thought it's been because that's what I was diagnosed with from a previous psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And because I explained to them, hey, this is what goes on, this is what happens. I don't remember shit. People say I act different, blah, 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 you know, like, you know. And
Yeah.
so I was diagnosed with DID. But now I talked to my current psychiatrist about it, and we're coming kind of to the conclusion either I have partial DID, which means that it happens very rare, like it happens more on like in tough situations when I'm in fight or flight, or where I do technically do have another personality or a couple others, but they only come out when it's like extreme circumstances, like the orphanage or the Uber or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or that I just dissociate so heavily that it's just maybe not, I just not in the conversation, but I am, you know, like there would be times when I would talk to somebody and they would maybe, if I see them the next day, they'll be like, oh, we had such a good conversation yesterday. I'm like, what conversation?
What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
And it's like, oh, we talked about this and this and that. And I just lied through my teeth and be like, oh, yeah, I remember that. And just like kind of feed off of what I think I would have said. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
think it's still me, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then most of the time I can play it off. But it's one thing that I've noticed more is like, my mentor would text me something and be like, we've talked about this before. I'm like, we have? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I genuinely don't remember this at all. Like,
I would
at
have I would think that that's ADHD though, because we
well, that's what my psychiatrist says. That she believes that it's dissociation with ADHD.
yeah,
Like it's not ADHD, just ADHD, but it's dissociation with an ADHD. So it's like because like depersonalization and derealization and disassociation are all signs of PTSD.
mm,
Dissociation is also part of ADHD.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying? So what
yeah,
she's saying that pair those two together, you're going to be dissociated a lot. And
yeah,
also, one thing I tried to explain to her this morning, because the reason why I brought this up again was because I was diagnosed with DID with a different psychiatrist. And for the longest time, I didn't tell my current psychiatrist until today, because I was like, I want her to get to know me, see if she notices anything, and so, and also I just want to see if I can trust her, if I can keep her, you know what I mean? So I, I told her today about it. She's like, all right, let's have this conversation, because she was, we can talk about this. And I was like, perfect. And so we talked about it and we just like talked it all out. And she's like, what it sounds to me is that you're very just heavily dissociated a lot, and that's a trauma response. And
yeah,
also that's along with ADHD. And you have you have ADHD, PTSD, bipolar, borderline, like I
yeah,
mean all of that mixed together. And then also I explained to her that even in the orphanage, I was in fight or flight all the time, dissociated all the time. And then when
yeah,
I came to the US, maybe the first couple weeks or a month or whatever, that was probably very valid from that experience.
yeah,
But then experiencing what I had to experience with my sister all the time, that created another sense of I had to be in fight or flight all the time. I have to be on guard all the fucking time.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
you think I'll be focused on what's going on? Well, I mean, I will be focused on what's around me, but in a sense of fight or flight, not enjoyment or this or that, because I was always around her. You know what I mean? And so, and then I came to the conclusion like, no wonder I'm always dissociated. No wonder it wasn't just because of the orphanage. It was because I spent my whole life in fucking fight or flight. And in those moments, I had a valid reason in the moment to feel those things. It
Yeah.
wasn't based on trauma, PTSD. It was based on because in that moment, I still had to do that shit.
Yeah.
And so do that for 18 fucking years.
Yeah.
And no wonder I don't remember most shit that happens. You
Yeah.
know? I wouldn't know half the trips I've taken unless my parents shows me a picture.
That's me with my whole childhood.
Yeah, exactly. Like most of my childhood, I don't remember. Like I don't remember going to Whistler, Canada. I don't remember going to California. I may remember snippets here and there, actually. It depends which California trip you're talking about because I know we've been a couple times. I just don't remember which one I remember.
Yeah.
But hiking the places we've hiked, I don't remember. It's just like it's just yeah. So.
Well, that's, you know, I don't remember. Really, I can't recall very much about my childhood
Mhm.
up until I had my son, which
Mhm.
might sound crazy because I was almost 15 when I had my son. Now,
I know. See, that's when I start to have memories and shit too.
yeah,
Like
but
that's
even before, like I don't anything I know is because someone told me or I saw pictures.
exactly,
Like
exactly.
I know how I met my son's father. I know
Mhm.
where I met him. I know that like I remember going to a movie like the first time I saw him in person, I went to a movie theater
Mhm.
and we like spoke to one another
Mhm.
kind of thing.
You just remember the big life changes that
Yeah,
were
but
created.
I can't tell you everything about our whole relationship up into
Yeah.
having my son
Mhm.
even. Like obviously we had sex.
Mhm.
I remember one time that
Mhm.
we were intimate,
Yeah.
but I think I was already pregnant at that point.
Uh-huh.
So it's like really up until close to having my first child,
Mhm.
I don't like mentally remember anything.
Yeah.
Just what I've been told, what I've seen pictures of.
Exactly. And that's one thing, like, and I understand the reasons behind it. Like, there's that phrase, if the DSM-5 we took trauma out of it, it'd be 2 inches tall. Like, it would be such a small book because
Yeah,
all of it intertwines with each other. I
yeah,
feel like it's the order of the symptoms that creates the other diagnoses. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's the same symptoms of a lot of things, just put in different things, maybe add this symptoms to actually identify this disorder that's
right,
different than others, but the
right.
rest of them are basically the other disorder.
Yeah,
And I'm like, so this one thing, this one tell is the only reason why it's this and not that, then at that point,
yeah, because
maybe
it,
not one thing, but you get what I'm saying.
yeah,
Like, there, it's like BPD bipolar, so fucking similar,
yeah,
but there are
yeah,
things that are different about it. There
yeah,
are, the deterioration of each episode, how often episodes could happen.
yeah.
One is technically a chemical imbalance, whereas the other one, where you were born with it, whereas the other one is, it's created through childhood or whatever,
Like
and
induced by trauma. Or,
exactly.
yeah,
There's been I think some people are now arguing that you can be born with BPD, but I'm not sure about that. I feel like it would be more markers of bipolar then and not
yeah.
BPD. And the only reason why I say that's because, if it's automatically a chemical balance in the brain, if you're born with it, then that's what bipolar is. It's a
Right.
chemical imbalance that's made by genetics.
Yeah.
Now, BPD can be shown pretty early if it's significant enough trauma.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And one thing about borderline, and I think a lot of, I think I have to do way more research on this, so don't quote me on this. But I think a lot of people who are adopted have borderline.
Natia had to head out. We lost track of time, but I appreciate you all for listening if you're listening and watching if you're watching. And we'll see you next time. Check us out on YouTube at Reah Higgs, ReahHagues. You can also keep up with us on Instagram at Just the Who Podcast.